good with your boy Rick Kane? Hey, she decided to grace us with her presence again.
Yep.
The beautiful Starlight is in the house. Hey, we got a special guest. He finna get on y'all about this money. Laban, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Laban King, welcome to the barber shop. Y'all know that about that Dragonfly Jones. Silence! Let's get it, baby. Nah. Carlito, please holler at your boy. Got my crack. Powerade, y'all need to sponsor you, boy.
We're about to start the field.
One in the barber shop. Talking random-ish. And I'm gonna try to do the whole first segment thing like we supposed to do. Getting all the information and everything. I'm gonna try to do that the right way this week. Hey, we just do it. Well, get to it. Direct Messenger, what's good? I need that new track, man. Boom.
Greetings, Atlanta, America, worldwide internet. Thank you for tuning in to Love 860, your shop talking randomish with King Insane. I am Will Sane.
It's your boy Rick Kane. And guess what, dog?
What's up, Will?
Somebody came in and had a holler the other day.
Who came in?
Well, we got the beautiful Starlight came back in the building.
The school system let her back.
They freeze you. Is you okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm good.
I mean, do we need to go down to the school and jump on some kids or something?
Nah, it might be a couple of adults you might need to, but nah.
Okay.
I'll be back up in there Monday.
Okay. You sure you're going back?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you know we got a place for you here.
Well, you're willing to pay me.
I mean, you're in the barber shop. I mean, depending on how many hands you get. I mean, you gotta build up your clientele. You gotta build up your clientele.
You gotta bring your customers in.
You gotta bring your customers in.
I'm gonna say pineapples right now.
Hey, y'all in the building tonight, we got Mr. Laban King. I don't know if y'all know him, but if you don't know him, you need to get to know him. You need to follow him on Facebook. He is prolific in this money-making thing. And he also is a mayor candidate for the city of Atlanta. We hope to get to that. But there's some other things I got here.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I need to plug my Mayor Oreo.
Okay, yes you do. Yes you do. You got to plug that. But hey, if y'all want to come into the barbershop, please holler at your folks at 404-355-8699, or you can go to 1-866-923-2860 if you still live in your mama basement, if you got a rotary dial type phone. And you can also go to love860.com, hit that media tab on love860.com. You come on in the barbershop. You can look at this fly t-shirt I got on. Silence! Dragonfly Jones. People, what's good with y'all? What kind of week y'all had this week, man?
Man, look at it. Anxious, nervous, any other phrase out there.
Well, 45 got you busy.
Terrified.
45 got you busy, don't it?
Man, look, well, somebody just grabbed the microphone from that man. Don't just grab the microphone. You know, from now on, when we decide on voting for a president, people don't think of it as you're just voting for someone to represent your country. think of it as someone who you're putting your life in their hands, literally.
Yeah.
Your life is in this man's hands.
Yeah, he got y'all. He got the world shook right now, man.
Man.
Hey, 45 is a damn fool, man.
Ah.
Egotistical maniac fool.
You know, and there's one thing to actually, I understand taking a bold stance and letting someone know that you're serious, but there's also a fine line between that and antagonizing someone. And, you know, there's been this talk about how Obama has been soft on North Korea, which I look at it as not being soft, but keeping peace. And
He was very strategic how he dealt with him.
correct. And we have someone who is not this
Strategy was never this man's strong suit.
in business.
No,
It is.
not even there.
He's
Not even
a
there.
strong type of guy, man. He go in.
Exactly. He tell you what he want, he try to go get it, and okay, I don't get it, I'm move on to someone else.
But this right here.
Well, like I was telling Will before this, we have to remember that this is 40 years in the making. What happened was during President Nixon's term, that's when the U.S. came in to establish Korea within itself. And then there was conflict within that establishment. And so what happened during Watergate, once Watergate happened, we took our attention off of establishing Korea. And then that's how Kim Jong-un's family became into power.
Yep.
So we're looking at really the fact that President Trump is having to clean up a mess that really wasn't resolved 40 years ago. And no matter what, Kim Jong-un, whether it had been Obama, whether it had been Bush, he's going to try to stretch his dominance because we have had so many non-dealings with him that his is like, okay, well, you know what? Despite the fact that I have no relationship with any other country other than the little, alleged relationships with China, at the end of the day, I'm going to show you that not only I can have a great economy, but I can also create a great military with the weapons of mass destruction.
And that's the other thing is we don't know what he actually has because he's been holding and hiding his arsenal for so long.
Yeah, he done told y'all he wouldn't let y'all come over there.
Yeah.
But he told you, hey, no.
Well, he has allowed for some Americans to come over there to kind of take a sneak peek.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman don't count.
Well, no. There have been reporters that have been allowed
There have
over
been
there.
real ones.
But I will say, like I was telling Will, like.
So when was you telling Will all this?
Well,
Will done sat down and had a whole bunch of
it was like a 30-minute
Y'all had something to do
The
with
thing
it.
was, we did get here early, so we were testing the mics.
Did you sponsor an hour that you didn't tell nobody about?
I guess I don't know. But
You're gonna take it out of your campaign.
but at the end of the day, the question I have is like, let's say, for instance, I called you and say, I'm gonna beat you up, and then I'll call you next day, I'm gonna beat you up. I call you and beat you up. How many times I gotta threaten to beat you up for you to be like, okay, I'm about to go over to your house and handle
See
you?
about this. Yeah.
So that's basically what we're facing in this country, and it's getting to a point in which Kim Jong-un does not want to have conversation about peace because at the end of the day, you got to understand the two richest people in the world. Number one is Putin, and number two is Kim Jong-un because they own everything in the country. So, like, if the president of our country owned a percentage of every single business, even if it was 0.0001%, he would be the richest person in the country. And so he wants to establish his wealth. Also, the North Koreans, they counterfeit our money like crazy. They throw off our economic system. So there's a lot of things that happen in which we need to start to respond to in a more aggressive way.
Does that help you
Absolutely not.
in foreign exchange?
No.
You don't sound like you're running for a city, Atlanta city
Well,
mayor. You
no.
sound like you're running for like president already.
Well, you have to understand. No, I definitely that's not in the path. But I will say this: Atlanta is an international city, and we have the busiest airport in the world, and so a lot of the international traffic comes from here, and so we have to understand that with Russia and both North Korea, they're not going to follow no war rules. That's the only thing that I find to be a huge concern. Before war is established, there's a lot of ground rules that countries have adopted, and they are not going to respond to any. They just going to start bombing. And Atlanta, I hate to say it, but we are a city that's right near an ocean, and although we are not on the same side of the Pacific Ocean, at the end of the day, we can be a target.
Now, because there has been talks about he has missiles that can reach New York. Now that's not been proven. That hasn't been
believe
proven.
that. I don't believe that. I don't even think we as Americans have that. I mean, that's a long way.
Well, I
Yeah.
know. I heard that they was talking about Guam.
Well,
But I
that's
mean,
what
Guam's
he,
like right next
Yeah.
door.
that's what he plans on bombing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
That's
playing
the
on bombing
closest.
Guam. So
Yeah, and even what's it called? Hawaii is.
Yeah.
I know today I was actually at the dog park shooting from CNN, and I was like, so when is the special going to air? He was like, it's going to air Labor Day weekend if we're not at war. And so the people of CNN are literally, getting content so that if there isn't a war, they'll have to play.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a possibility that it might go down. And so I will say this, as an American citizen who is proud to be American, despite, the fact that we have a lot of things to work on this city, this country, that we need to be supportive because this, like I said, is way deeper than the surface things and that people are talking about on social media.
That's true. Not and the governor of Guam has started to inform his people, or the government has started putting out flyers and leaflets on how to survive a
Yeah.
nuclear attack. So
did they say nothing? Is that a blank piece of paper?
Right.
Is that pretty much a blank piece of paper?
Actually, that
if you are a cockroach, this is how you survive an attack.
Oh, black? Well, unless they black. 'Cause blacks and cockroaches seem to be all the thing.
Now see, that's racist.
That's racist?
That's racist.
Oh, okay, I'm wrong. Maximilian,
It's not right.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
what's good, my brother? What's going on with you, man?
I'm sorry, man. I was just sitting back listening, man, because y'all know how I feel about our president, and I do call him our president because he's the president.
He sure
of the United
is.
States, because I'm American. I ain't got no other choice.
Yes, you do, but
But
Oh, so you know what they say, right? If someone says something and they say "but," forget everything they said.
that's like saying, I don't mean no harm.
Yeah, but I don't mean no disrespect.
No shade.
Yeah.
A bunch of shade get
That was
thrown.
Yes, sir.
big.
Two. Now, if you were dealing with one egomaniac, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
It's about to be 3.
Who's third?
Putin.
Oh, Russia's already
Absolutely.
said. Russia's already. It came
First of
in
all,
early today.
Yeah, United States fighting Korea is like a professional boxer fighting an MMA fighter. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that's going to happen later on this month. So I ain't going to get any punches in.
You got a couple of weeks. You got a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because a lucky
It's
shot now.
like Andre the Giant fighting Pee Wee Herman. Okay?
Okay.
Ooh.
If we decide that we're going to go to war, let's go to war. Eliminate everything completely, quickly. We can
I
do that.
agree.
And
I
we're going
agree.
to go. If you ain't going to blow the whole country up,
I-
leave them alone.
And see,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
the,
I
that's
get- I
the
get
problem.
you.
But then that's the problem that I feel like a lot of people have, is that we're gonna eliminate a whole country
We
And then we're gonna go
tried
back and
it.
because
rebuild.
of
It
that
worked.
one man.
Because of the one man who controls the whole country, who controls the message,
Well,
who
can
controls
we,
the
can we at
line.
least
No.
get the good people across the border
How
to
can
South
you do that?
Korea?
How can you do that?
before we go
Absolutely
after
How can you
them?
do that?
No.
It's wrong.
How can you do that? But how can you do that?
There's no easy way.
You have to understand, we're not killing the man, we're killing the mindset.
That's what I'm saying. Can we
Oh,
get
oh,
the?
you got quiet. That's when you want to go to commercial. That's when you want to go to commercial right there.
You can't kill a mindset.
You cannot.
That's
You
an
can't.
ideology. that
Exactly. That's what.
So you have to wipe out the whole war.
That's what we can't win in
Bingo.
the
they-
We
Go.
did that before twice and it didn't work.
Where was that?
But that's why we can't. That's why we can't win in the Middle East.
Back
because
when they
it's-
kept
it's a
attacking our
mindset.
ships
You got to
and
kill out everyone because
We decided to send 2 bombs over there.
Oh,
we
And
took
yeah,
that.
that wasn't good. That wasn't good.
No, it ain't good, but like I said, we didn't get killed. If it come down to you or me, I got to get you.
I feel you on that.
I ain't
But-
trying to go.
My thing is,
I'm
just
just
look
saying.
at it like this.
do y'all not
At the
love
end-
lives?
I don't love no life that is threatening minds.
I don't definitely
And
not.
and and and
But
at the end
little
of the day-
Johnny over there in the corner in that country who knows nothing of you.
But look, Johnny,
He's
he's
gonna
gonna
be
find a way out.
But the ones that don't know,
He can't find a way out. It's not America. They can't just find a way out.
So
No, they can get permits to go to China.
They
But
can
they're
go to
not
South
gonna
Korea.
They're not
We'll
gonna-
say South Korea.
They can't go there, but they can go to China.
China already
Yes.
China already got their own problem
Yes, they took
with
it.
people's
But see, China can't be attacked because of the way it's designed.
They,
What they
they
said?
own everybody.
Well,
their bank account set
Well,
up.
no,
Yeah.
the way the land is,
Yeah.
you can,
Oh, yeah.
that's an attackable place. So It kind of like it's almost like the China, the safest place in the world.
Thanksgiving.
Physically.
You
A whole lot
did
of
that.
Chinese people too.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of
Yeah,
them.
a whole lot of
Yeah,
them.
some stuff.
They everywhere.
A whole lot of them. Like 16 million.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They having babies right now.
Stop it.
Yeah, but they have a
I
week.
wonder what they sex program like over there. I need to
You
get
still have that one baby per household?
They
don't know.
don't.
They used to.
They get to it. They get to it over in
removed
China,
that.
don't
They
they?
removed that.
Yeah.
They got the good stuff over there. They can get some product.
They removed that.
That's when they removed
Yeah.
that?
Because the democracy, they were like, okay, wait, we'll give you a little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
But hold up. Laban, that's not why you here. We didn't bring you here
I
to
know,
talk
my
about
bad.
that.
Yeah,
We didn't bring you here to talk. I told you.
That's
Y'all can throw a topic out now, what?
That's the AD.
Except for football. As soon as y'all start talking about football, I'm going to do my church finger and I'm going to leave.
That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
So
Now,
What school you on? You schooling us on
You
this.
can't
Who's big on
possibly
football?
win mayor of my city and not
I'll
know
tell you
something
this.
about football.
I'll tell you what I do know. That concession stand, I went to the tasting for the new
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
support.
Food's
I
gonna
will
be
be
good.
there.
That food's gonna
Yeah,
be good.
yeah. And so while they
You go
go
for the
kicking,
food?
screaming, all that on the floor, I'll be at the concession stand on my Long Island.
Now, the reason why I wanted you here is because I saw you on Facebook Live.
Oh God.
And you was on, you went on one. You went ham this day. This is the first day I seen you go off. Normally you pretty mild mannered and cool, but this day you went off.
Yeah.
And it was about black folks and the regentrification of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
The floor is yours.
Well, okay, so, of course I'm running for mayor, and the one thing that this campaign does is it puts me in different positions that I need to talk to the people, and I enjoy it. But my thing is, before we can expect change in the city, we have to be able to have realistic conversations about what's going on. Because all I see in the city of Atlanta is a lot of finger pointing. And don't get me wrong, some of the finger pointing is justified, but we have to ask ourselves, what have we done to take part in certain activities that are happening in this city? I'm from Detroit originally, and so
How long you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta for 5 years, but my mom's side of the family is from here.
Okay.
So like I've been here like literally half of the year, this, that, and the other, yada yada yada. I mean, my grandparents are buried here and everything like that. So, and I still have a lot of cousins here. So one thing about Detroit though is the same issues that are happening here are happening in Detroit. But the difference between Atlanta and Detroit is Detroit had an economy in which, metropolitan Detroit, Oakland County, was the richest county in the country for over 40 years up until like the beginning of the 2000s. So I grew up around what we would consider black wealth. I mean, it was a city in which you could be a high school dropout making $100,000 a year just
Because of the plants?
of the factories.
Yeah.
So what happened was my dad and mom, they were real estate investors back in the day. They would buy homes, renovate them, and rent them out. They didn't flip houses or whatever. And so my dad would always, tell people in the factories, yo, you need to buy you some property, you need to do this and another. So when the bailout happened with Chrysler, Ford, and GM, some people were getting checks for $100,000 plus dollars. And I'll never forget this one guy, one of my dad's associates, he got a check for $100,000. And guess how much was taken out for child support and how much he got left?
For child support.
We had about, we said 100,000.
Uh-huh.
I
Forty.
said they left him about 20,000.
$4.
What?
They left
How many
him
kids he
$4.
He had never paid rent. I mean, child
You never
support.
paid Johnson?
Yeah. So, and that's another issue why we can't build wealth. We stay up in family court, but that's a whole other story. So, with that being said,
You have to be more careful who you sleep with.
well, I mean, at the
Well,
same,
just pay for the kids.
all right,
Let's take care of the kids.
right,
Well, he thought she was.
Sometimes it's a mistake.
He thought she was on the pill.
right.
Just take care of the kids. Set up a
Right.
bank account. That's
So
how you
there
do
was an opportunity, a window of opportunity in which I saw African Americans have an opportunity to actually purchase land, and that was just not a priority. I mean, my dad would go to different union halls and different churches, having these conversations. Let's buy some of this property. Let's buy some of this property, and unfortunately, a lot of people didn't. And so what I see in Atlanta is, don't get me wrong, there's institutional things that have happened, the draining of the school system, the fact that there's a lack of mobility within a lot of these areas, the unreliable mass transportation. But at the same time, when you look at a city that produces literally hundreds of college graduates from Morehouse and Spelman and Clark Atlanta every single year, Atlanta has a huge population of educated, quote-unquote, bourgeoisie black people. We should have had an opportunity to purchase a lot of this land. I'm going on the West End, and I'm seeing on Bleecker Street about 3 weeks ago, that house that changed, it's 36 Bleecker Street, and I'll give you the damn address, you'll watch yourself, is a California investment firm purchased it for $190, I believe. No, $180. They put $90,000 in it. They were going to list it for $420, but then the woman said, I don't want to be outbidded, so she gave them $460. And this is a month before the house was even done. And so I was outside the house talking to the guy, one of the guys that was over like the actual project, a white guy. And like I said, it's a investment firm from LA. And he looked at me, he was like, yeah, we just sold it for $460. But even he gave me the look like, yo, this ain't good. This ain't good. Yeah. And so because what's happening is there's going to be a housing crash within Atlanta really soon. Because wages are going up. Excuse me, house prices are going up, but wages aren't. No. You have a lot of foreign investors coming in here, particularly like the ones from Hollywood that are used to paying $1 million for a shack. They're coming over here and they're purchasing places. All these condos and all these townhomes down in town and like in Midtown and whatever. Yeah. Those are purchased by Hollywood executives because a lot of these actors that are coming here, they don't want to stay in hotels. They want to stay in something nice. And then like my old apartment on Myrtle Street. They sold that whole thing and they purchased it. They gave it to a company that's like an Airbnb just for Hollywood film people. So you're going to see an imbalance in the city, but there's a way we can solve this.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and you're going to answer that question when we get back. Please, y'all, please come on in the barber shop. It's 404-355-8699. If you're outside the ATL area, 1-866-923-2860. Come on back and holler at your boy.
Call in. I'm going to spit my freestyle real quick.
Go ahead. You on the mic. We got you.
I ain't giving no free
versions.
I ain't giving no free
versions. Oh, now you ain't got no free versions.
Like DMX. I don't freestyle.
Oh, freestyle. I freestyle, son. Yeah, all right. So you say like the Hollywood execs and everything are coming in.
They are.
Now and buying all these places. And I can understand it because, like I said, I like last year, it was just like last year I was looking at moving downtown. And I was looking at prices of condos. And condos downtown, it's one specific condo I can tell you right now. It was listed like $80,000 last year. Now they want $190 for that damn.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And I do feel there's going to be another. It's going to be another crash. Yeah, it's going to be another.
Oh yeah. Southside for a reason.
Yeah. 16 on Southside for a reason. I need to get back to the city. I need to move.
See,
I love my city, but I've never wanted to stay in the city. And this was back, like I'm an 80s baby. This was back like before, like even before all the crashes. I was like, man, it's not too much down here. Like it's nice.
I want to walk. That's the thing. I want to walk the place.
Although I moved from New York, and I used to live in Hell's Kitchen, which is like Tasha. So I'm used to it. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm used to walking. So Midtown, when I lived across the street from Piedmont Park, that was perfect for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm in Buckhead right now, and
you missed the glory years of Buckhead.
Yeah, you missed the old days.
Like they're making it shops with no. Buckhead used to be nice.
Yeah, it used to be partying and stuff.
Like, but I mean, no, I'm saying you could party, walk, you could do business. You had the millionaire houses right here. It was nice. Yeah. It was like everybody, was all niggas in here, and then it was like you said, the business people came in and was like, oh, I don't want this in my area. As long as it's got business, so they pushed everything out. And now they're like, oh yeah, we need y'all to come back now.
So we're eating a lot of gun worms over there.
I know, I'm gonna die.
I mean, I'm just saying, I can tell.
I'm gonna die at 10, yeah.
So that means you buying dinner after?
I can. Where we going?
Hey.
Yard house?
Huh? Well, they got the hottest wings and the coldest beer.
So what do you feel about gentrification?
We finna, no, don't answer that shit.
That's my question. Like.
Could you do us the honor of coming on back in? I mean, we ain't seen it, you know.
Put the mic back. All right, welcome back. Talking Random-ish. We're in the barbershop. It's 404-355-8699 or 866-923-2860. So, fellas, this whole gentrification thing. Before we go on break, it's getting kind of intense in here. All I got to say is, not gonna lie, kind of really wish I had a little extra coin. Because just where I live at, I'd buy at least 3 of them places from the bank right now. Trick them out and rent them out.
Check them out. Read
Check
them
'em
out.
out, right.
So okay, what you saying there? Financial guy. Do you have to have a lot of money? What do you What do you need to have if you don't have a lot of money and you want to get into this game?
You have to have a network of people that might not have a lot of money but are willing to practice group economics. Or you can have a 750 credit score, and that can open up a lot of doors for you when it comes to the lending side.
Gotta have a job. 'Cause you gotta
Well,
pay
yeah,
for it.
I mean, of course, you know.
If you
Yeah.
can have a 750 without a job, hey,
Yeah.
go right ahead and do it.
I want to see
Go
that.
right ahead and do it.
Right. Because trust me, I had a 750 without a job, well, like technically, and you know, I turned water into wine. So
But what else was you doing?
that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
Nothing illegal.
So how do you
Yeah.
feel about the whole gentrification of Atlanta now?
Well, you
Because
know,
they tear down like a lot of the old projects and everything, and now they make like a lot of new high rises all over.
To some of our listeners what gentrification is.
okay, so
Just to
gentrification.
let them know.
Okay, so the definition of gentrification,
Yes.
not the street definition, is
Yes.
when you take a piece of property and you invest in it so that the value can be higher.
Correct.
Now, what the gentrification with the black community consider, it's almost like modern day colonialism, where in order for that street value to be higher, they have to do an exodus of black culture. And so,
Well, negative black culture.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
negative-
what I just
Because
said.
Well,
that is,
well,
that
I
is,
say-
that is
well,
one
yeah.
of the good things about Atlanta. You have a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
So it's like if you move out the negative,
but
you
for
don't
the most,
mind.
but I will say that, but for the most part, gentrification doesn't really take the time to say, oh, well, you good blacks, you stay. Because what happens is
I
a
know
lot
it's
of,
about your money.
well, yeah, and a lot of these places, a perfect example, I went to this one new restaurant, Lean Draft.
I don't be
opened up.
plugging no restaurants.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, on the west side that just opened up. And so a lot of people in the neighborhood were there. It was a lot of, you know, you could tell more professional blacks or whatever, but at the end of the day, it still was a lot of white folk. So,
Hey, somebody just walked in the bar shop. What you need? What you want?
hey. Laban.
Okay. The actual definition of gentrification is when a block is one property, an area blighted and or abandoned area is turned around to up to standards of a middle class area standard. And Ruth Glass, whose name I wish more people knew, was the person that coined the term gentrification back in the 60s. And she coined the term based on an area on the west end of London where they were doing a lot of what she coined to be gentrification, where they were turning the slums around and making it so that the income level of the people that were living in there had to be of middle class standard and of middle class mores, which means they were leaning more toward higher education and a value of public school education that was available in England. And that's pretty much what goes on when gentrification goes down here in the United States as well.
Now,
You're right. You're right on this next thing that he was talking about. Yeah, a lot of black folks got a mixed think that it just means run out to black folks.
that's what I was about to say.
But it's an
Okay.
economic thing.
Yeah,
It's
not
not,
money.
not a black thing. It's an economic thing.
It's, wait,
Well, but don't a lot of it comes from black neighborhoods?
Well, if
It's
it's a
not-
poverty, if it's
What
a
it comes from, what it comes from is neighborhoods, because most of the gentrification that goes on in this country is not in black neighborhoods. I suggest that I would like to encourage y'all to look at the United Nations report on stabilization and reestablishing neighborhoods in the top 100 major cities in this country. It was just put out. What it is, most gentrification is taking place in areas where slumlords are the strongest engine for gentrification to exist, and people that own properties that just quit. Those are the ones, and most of those neighborhoods are not black neighborhoods.
okay, so wait. First of all, what's your name?
My name's Todd.
Okay.
Eric Todd Stewart.
Okay, great. So I agree with some of the things that you're saying, but the one thing I must point out is that when you have a area in which you defund schools, in which you tear down the school system, everything else will crumble from that.
Yep.
And so nothing that you're saying is inaccurate, because this right here is a complex brew of crazy gumbo. But at the same time, let's not really neglect the fact that it's just not about slumlords. If you have as somebody who owns a real estate investment firm, I have more opportunity to sell the property that I own if the school district is good.
Prosperous.
Point
Yeah.
blank,
Yeah.
period. And with everything that's been going on in the school district in Atlanta specifically, because it's in a cluster and all this type of garbage, at the end of the day, it's going to be a reflection. Because, perfect example, what's that school, DeVry? They pick their majors based upon what the community needs at that point. And so it's one of those situations where if you can't educate the people, you won't be able to employ the people. When you can't employ the people, they're not going to have enough money to be able to pay rent. And that's where slumlords come in. Not saying that, don't get me wrong, I'm not justifying slumlordness, but yeah.
I want you to move to far past what you just said. I want you to back up a little bit to make sure people that listen heard what you said about the schools. Because you're referencing specifically public schools, aren't you? Aren't you specifically referencing public schools?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And public schools are most readily available nonprofits in any given neighborhood that you get to. They're taxpayer funded, okay? The government supplies the employees by taxpayer dollars. And they're set there to educate, not just educate the students that are in the school, but use those students as tools to resupply the neighborhood so that they can get more taxpayers into the homes and then bring up the value of the home. That is what public schools serve as a good purpose to, that a lot of folks don't recognize, and they don't recognize them as taxpayer-funded nonprofits. That's what they are. And they have budgets, they're public budgets, and you can supply them with things, cash preferably, that will help move them along in the things that are in their budget, and you can help move them along to things that are not in their budget, but they aspire to do so. And as a guy who's a real estate investor, as yourself knows, one of the first three things that a realtor says when they go into a neighborhood that they know is a popular neighborhood, they talk about how strong those schools are. And they talk about that whether you have kids or not.
I know, because they be selling that to me, and I ain't got no kids, no time.
Yeah.
All right, A.
Public schools drawing, and not, let me say this in X because this is important. Those public schools also draw in neighborhood businesses because people want to do business where there's a good neighborhood public school is well taken care of by the neighborhood, because those people in that neighborhood have a good sense of community consciousness, and they will spend and circulate their money around.
But if they ain't putting no money in the school systems, in our school system, in the lower income school systems, you're going to eventually get all that out of there.
And especially, no, it's not because of the neighborhood. We have to really acknowledge the fact that at the end of the day, there is a lot of social engineering and there's a lot of planning that happens when it comes to this. If I take all the energy out of you and I take all the fight and all the value out of you, then it's going to be easier for me to go and infiltrate the area that you're in. A lot of these areas in Michigan.
And pay the cashier. Let me just get out because I'm not with you on this. I'm just going to pay the cashier and get out. Okay, ready?
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, I mean, no, I definitely get what he's saying, but and a lot of his points are valid, but we can't choose one valid point and then neglect everything else. There's a whole system behind this that has it like this.
Well, I just want to, as the actual teacher on the panel, it was 100% true as far as how real estate goes, because it's like as soon as you see a school going up, the first thing they do is you get 3 or 4 or 5 new neighborhoods. And, the school can only hold but so many kids, and they already have the kids in that neighborhood. So now why are you building more neighborhoods to feed into this one school? But then you have businesses, okay, yeah, your test scores are good. Your school looks nice. Your kids are being productive once they graduate from your school. So you're bringing in the businesses. However, now the businesses are starting to sneak into the school board. They're starting to get on their meetings.
Right.
So now you're perpetrating your mindset of where you think this needs to go into our education system. So now you're handcuffing the teachers. Because you're telling us, this is what we need you to do now. Okay, yes, you love teaching your kids. However, we got this new lesson plan. We got this new school system. We got, someone funded new books. Let's teach this now. Let's do this. So it's still, that's almost the mindset gentrification. Yeah, you can gentrify your money. You can gentrify your neighborhood or your what the neighborhood actually looks like. When you gentrify somebody's mind, that's the problem. And nobody wants to talk about that issue.
For you address that, somebody just walked in the barber shop. What you need, what you want?
I'm looking for a walking light.
Who just walked in my barber shop? What you need, what you want?
Just a little bit off the top.
Okay, just a little bit off the top.
All we do is bald heads.
We doing
You know,
No dreads. You just put some beeswax on it and tell you to keep it moving.
I can do flat, twisted cornrows.
What's good? What's your name? What you need, baby?
I'm Lee from Atlanta, man, and on this weekend, whatever it was.
Gentrification.
Gentrification, yes, sir.
The issue I have with us facing these issues is I don't hear us speaking as much about, and I know we might be speaking it, but how do we get ourselves to invest, but not inside the infrastructure that is being made subject to these financial decisions? Because it would seem more economically and socially sound for the indigenous people of this land, or the so-called Negro, to take the route a bit of the Native American. And I use these terms a little loosely because they're very definite definitions. And how do we get to that part? You know, buying blocks of land, acreages of land, and going into our communities and finding who needs help, putting the help in place for them, and structuring areas that our entrepreneurs and our leaders spearhead, so that 2 generations from now we can have something to look at that we orchestrated amongst ourselves.
But now, first, I would say that's a mindset. I would have to say that you have to want to do that, because like for instance, people have $100,000, right? But the first thing a lot of people do, not all, is go buy a car, or they go buy a house, or rent a condo, instead of actually going out and look at those lands as investments. So I think it's a mindset thing.
Well, I would rather for you to buy a car than to go and get a house and don't know what to do with it. The thing about it is you can't, this whole by the block.
A car has no value.
A house that you lose has no value. That's the thing.
That you lose, yes.
And you will lose it if you don't have the education to be able to hold it. The amount of people that I've seen lose property that was passed down to them by their grandparents and their parents and this, that, and another. So at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's really power. And a lot of people don't have that knowledge. So I would rather for you to enjoy your car than to go and just buy it because you was told that's what was to do. And then you don't. Go ahead. No.
That is where leadership comes into play, because you said something key. A lot of people don't. And I'm gonna get a little bit Christian on you and say, you have to feed my lambs and feed my sheep.
Say that one more time.
Feed my lambs and feed my sheep.
Okay.
And lambs and sheep ain't real smart animals, But the point being, our leaders have opportunities. The minute they realize they're a leader, the minute they realize they have an entrepreneurial spirit. And this goes into our leaders as far as preachers, our leaders as far as teachers especially. And that's why I say specifically blocks of land that we can develop, that we sit down for 6 months and discuss who is this people going to be when we finish with this block of land that we're going to invest.
I got a question. Hey, but I got a question. And I'm finna piss off a whole bunch of people, especially black folk.
I would agree with you most likely.
Don't we have too much damn religion
Well, let me
in our culture? Don't we have too much damn religion?
let me tell you the problem. No, let me tell you the problem.
Rick, I ain't religious, but we in the Bible Belt.
Well, let me tell you the problem. The problem is that black people are so worried about the afterlife that they'd rather live in hell right now in the current life. And so, with my thing is, believe what you want. But the problem is that we have allowed the church to be a one-stop shop place, but they weren't designed for that. Go, shout, be on praise break commercials, all that stuff like that. But they should not be the ones that are curating this whole renewal, because a lot of these old preachers don't even know a lot of this stuff. I mean, if you study theology, what makes you tell me that I can buy the block? It's not really. We place too much responsibility on the church, and furthermore.
We own the block. Even when we own the block, we don't own the block.
But see, that's.
It's not a we. It's a I got enough money. I have enough money.
See, that's the
we
problem.
say it's a mindset. And we need to get away from this whole idea, and this is one thing that irks me too. Get away from this idea of leaders. Why can't you be a leader of your family and your family go buy a block?
However, if we don't have a dialogue, and we are the only people that really have this specific problem, it's a problem. We were attacked. We have been orchestrated to be a second-class citizen to a corporation called the United States of America.
And you're right. And you're right. And a lot of the problem in the black community is we run to religion to try to answer a lot of these questions, where a lot of other communities, the head of their community is not the church.
Well, again, we are coming out of a situation. No other people on the planet have the situation behind them that we have.
I have a question.
I disagree.
I have a question. I have a question. So, my saying is the best way to help the world is get your life together. What have you done to be able to be a voice to the change in the community? Do you own property?
I'm going to tell you. Right now, I own nothing personally. I am paying attention to what's happening from the position of having owned, lost, and being down here on the streets. Where there's not a great deal of understanding, and I'm kind of in the middle. I can speak to a president. I won't know everything he's talking about, but I can speak to the dude on the corner who's been standing there for about 15 years and nobody's cared anything about him. And the balance, what I'm doing is I'm calling into talk radio, asking those who have the ear of the people the possibilities of us organizing from a peaceful, educational, spiritually grounded, not religion, format that we have to develop. No one's going to come in and replace Dr. King for us. And I'm not trying to be leaderish. I'm saying we've had a teacher. Dr. King taught us something. He taught us we can be more than what they're saying right now. And we don't even know what his whole dream was. We don't know what he saw when he got to the mountaintop. I may, but that's another story. But at that point, how do we say, okay, all of us are leaders, so we're really going to have to sit down a long time to deal with this. It took them a long time to take this country away from the Iroquois nation, a peaceful nation. It's going to take us time, it's going to take us time developing who we're going to look like. Right now, we look like anything they say is popular on television.
True. But that is a mindset which we have to start teaching our own. You have to, meaning when I say teach our own, teach our children. And from there, something can spawn. But if we're just sitting there telling ourselves that we're not great or we don't know, are we doing the research ourselves? Are we going to the library picking up books? Are we going online? The resources are there.
When he first came on was, before we hit the religion button, he said, how do we change the system so it suits us? Okay, you can't change the system from the outside.
No,
You
you
have to be
in it.
inside the system.
Exactly.
Then you can make changes. You want to stop black brothers from going to jail? Be on the jury. You want to stop Donald Trump
be a judge.
being
We got to be on the jury too.
Be a
there are
judge.
ways to do it, but you can't change the system from the outside. You got to be inside to change it.
I agree.
And first, and one of the ways we have to register to vote. We have to know what's going on in our communities. We got to get to know our local people.
And it's always the local elections
Yes.
that matter in the big ones.
Right.
The thing is, for me, I've been voting since the age of 18. Granted, my first presidential one was the hanging ballot one, but I didn't let that stop me.
mine too.
I kept voting, and it's like I'm going to keep voting until I can't vote anymore. I had a mother who, pretty much a few months away from her deathbed, sent in her ballot for President Obama, and it's like it's just in me, the fact, like how Max said, you got to be in it to do it. And even if you don't get in, push somebody with your like mindset. They don't even have to look like you. If it's the same mindset you believe in, you push them in there. And that's how a lot of things have gotten to the point of either a good change or a negative change. They push the mindset that they wanted. And that's how you get it done.
Let me just give you one fact. 50% of eligible millennials did not vote.
No. And I knew
50%.
plenty of
eligible
them.
They were
millennials.
eligible.
Exactly. I knew plenty of people say, "Oh, I'm not voting. Why?" And their reason was just like, "Oh, I just don't want to." That's not a
That's because they
reason.
wanted Bernie Sanders.
It doesn't matter.
but-
Okay,
but-
I still voted for Bernie.
Let me
They don't mad about Bernie Sanders.
No, let me say this though. I will say this as somebody who have went behind the scenes of the DNC. The DNC is just as white as Colombian cocaine.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we have to be more active in political parties and then raise our own candidate.
Yeah.
People can say what they want, but Bernie Sanders did not vote. He did not deserve the nomination, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Not to win.
I
Not to
don't
try
think-
to win.
Hold on. We got
Not to try to
somebody
win
else just walked
office.
in the barbershop. What you need? What you want?
Okay, I'll go in.
Go ahead.
Okay, because the topic is so important, I'm going to make an on-air request that you do it again as far as gentrification goes.
Oh, this time.
Eric, hurry up.
Okay.
Eric,
Send y'all-
go ahead.
I'm going to send y'all an email, and I'm going to request 3 things be mentioned and hit hard in the hour that y'all have. The economic benefits and minuses of gentrification, the crime statistics benefits and minors of gentrification, and the academic benefits.
Hey, Eric, just shoot the email to us, man. You ain't got to tell us what you're going to shoot to us. Just shoot it to the email.
No, I'm requesting that y'all hear it now because y'all may not read it.
No,
Okay,
we'll read it, Eric. Just shoot it to us. Just shoot it to us, man.
So
That's talkingrandomish@gmail.com. All right.
All right, so that's your point. You were talking about the Democratic convention.
All right, excellent. Hold up. Somebody else just walked into the barbershop. What you need? What you want?
I got a lot of walking.
This is Jesse. How you folks doing?
Good, how are
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Okay, just dealing with what one of the earlier caller was saying. It seems we don't want to take on the challenge that is before us.
You could be right.
Go ahead. Keep speaking.
Explain.
What do you mean?
When someone speaks about doing something that is not the normal United States government way of participating, when you're dealing with a strong man that has real people that are affected by their actions, and we're volunteering into that straw man economic, that we refuse to say, hey, let's get about 100 of us together and see if we can, while not being attacked, orchestrate something that is us.
Well, let me say this one thing. I can only speak for the work that I've been doing. I actually have been trying to orchestrate a large number of people. It is difficult to orchestrate people that are, the problem with black people is most other races think as a herd, we think as individuals. So
And why? Why is that? That is because we were divided amongst ourselves.
but see, here's the thing. I'm 33 years old. And if God let me live to be 70, I can't be the E. Olive Enzyme for African Americans. I am a investor.
We need to get away from that whole mindset.
I am an investor.
You gotta move forward.
I can come up with a plan as to make that thing happen. But I will tell you this: when I started doing this, what I'm doing, I could not do this work because everybody's like, oh, I don't trust nobody. Oh, but yet you trust Bank of America with your money, and they won't even give you a loan to loan out your own money. You trust, huh?
It's our relationship that we must first build, because if we're chasing economic,
We every day we support institutions that have proven to be untrustworthy to us. I mean, you have Wells Fargo who literally created bogus accounts. How many black people pull themselves out of there? You know what I'm saying? We get into Ubers and we don't even know the person that's driving. I mean, you know, like, so every day we give ourselves to institutions that have proven themselves not to be trustworthy. But yet, we only use this excuse when it comes to us.
Have we invested in our relationships? And let me tell you, I'm 54. Way back, you know, you go to school, you have a high school dance, and you have parents around, and it was pretty much heterosexual land, and you know, there were no people around. And I'm saying that like that because we were being this way inside of the ex-Jim Crow society. We're still the victims of Jim Crow, but we're still going forward and we're trying to assimilate. And that's what we've been doing. Trying to say, okay, man, so you say I ain't a slave no more, but I ain't got no money, I ain't got no place, you just give me my 40 acres, and you picking the best of me, and you giving them jobs and giving them places that aren't even in our neighborhood. And because you're doing this, we also have to deal with codes and regulations that say you can't play music here, you can't do this over there, you can't do this here. So if
Hold on, brother. I understand what you're saying, but at some point, we have to stop making all these excuses and start. And then just listen to what I'm saying. Just listen to what I'm saying.
Let me say this real quick. You know, before we get on the air, but this is. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Before I get on the air, I was talking to the co-host about why I don't do panels. And with all due respect, you are one of the reasons why I don't. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit on no damn panel for no hour and continue to have this conversation. Is stuff messed up? Listen. Is stuff messed up? Yes. Where is the solution and where is the game plan? We got to stop looking for Dr. Phil and E. Allen to come in our community. It's going to take a lot of purging, but until then, we got to come up with a plan to make sure that we have equity in the country that our ancestors built. And so all this chat, I understand it. Native Americans are not the best example to follow. They have the highest alcoholism rate in the country. They have the highest
education rate.
Right.
What we always say is this right here. Affect what you can in your community first, with your people first, and then let it spawn out.
Hey, brother, thank you for coming into the barbershop. See the cashier on your way out. Somebody else is in the barbershop. What you need, what you want.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Hey, Avery.
What's good with you, Avery?
Nothing much. Yes, he's from Detroit, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask you a question. Are you familiar with Jim Cook?
I was about to say Jim Crow.
Jim Cook.
No. Who
I'll
is?
tell you who Jim Cook is. He put out a grocery store called Metro Food Land.
Oh, I know Jim. Yeah, Mr. Cook. I live right in Roselle Park. That's where I grew up. Yeah, Grand River and Southern Freeway. Yeah, Mr. I never knew that's his real name. Yeah, Mr. Cook. Yeah.
Well, what division of what part of Detroit you say you're from?
I'm from North Rosedale Park.
Rosedale Park. Okay.
Right.
The reason why I brought his name up is because he had a grocery store and it folded up in 2014. You know why?
Mhm.
Because of the crime.
No.
Because of
He's
people.
no. Are you from Detroit?
No, sir.
Okay, he sold that. No, yeah. That area is one of the what you call the crown jewels of Detroit. Yeah, one of the crown jewels of Detroit. And don't get me wrong, the crime in Detroit is real, but that area right there, the area that I'm from, Google it, North Roselle Park. He sold that bad boy.
Oh, he sold it.
Yeah.
Well, why did he sell it?
He was probably old and tired.
Yeah, like I said, I've known him as Mr. Cook. He's literally known me since I was in diapers. So like it could be a situation where now that I even think about it, I don't even know if he has. Not saying that he doesn't have kids, but I don't know if he has anybody to leave it behind. And that's what a lot of our older individuals who have businesses, they're selling it because they may not necessarily have kids or even responsible kids to be able to take over the business. So it's like, why give it to somebody who is irresponsible? So, yeah.
So in other words,
I don't know if he had kids, but you know, I don't know.
Okay then, okay. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too that we having so many problems. We haven't learned from Maynard Jackson when he took over the reins of mayor in 1974, January 1975, 74. I mean, they moved all the businesses to downtown Alpharetta. If you go up there right now, that's how downtown Atlanta looked back in the day, back 42 years ago. Downtown Alpharetta, you go up there, you'd be like, man, this is how it was when they left Atlanta to build in Alpharetta. And that's how, you know, you go to downtown Atlanta now, it looks like a ghost town.
But let me say this also, because let me go back to the Foodland situation.
Okay, then.
Now, don't get me wrong, Foodland was a popular grocery store, but when you have a luxury store like Whole Foods that comes in, and then there's one in Detroit that's a little bit local called Papa Joe's Bistro, like they were not competing with like quality competition, so that could be another reason why he just felt like he needed to sell it.
Avery, thank you for coming in the boss. Y'all see the cashier, and then we'll holler at you next week. Laban,
Yes.
I ain't got to talk no football.
Oh, okay.
I supposed to have been talking to the football, but I got a football season coming up.
Okay.
But
People all hot, man.
you doing some important work going on.
Uh-huh.
You're running for mayor. What is your plan?
Okay.
Why are you running for mayor? And to my knowledge, you have no prior political experience, right?
Elected or appointed political experience, I don't. But the one thing I tell people, anytime you do business in Atlanta, you have political experience because everything in the city is very political. I am running for mayor because one thing that I see is that I'm 33 years old. If I win, once I win, I will be the youngest elected mayor in...
You say if you win?
Once I win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will be the youngest elected mayor in Atlanta history. And the one thing I can truly say is that, you know, as a millennial, we're the first generation that did the right thing, but got the wrong results. You told us to go to school, we went to school, then we couldn't find jobs, and then we went back to graduate schools, and then you told us we were overqualified. And so now you have a generation of the educated people that are still in need. My thing is, we have the skills to be able to lead the city into the next millennial. One of the things that I see in Atlanta in particular is that if you are not related to a civil rights leader, or if you are not a part of the quote-unquote Atlantan black bourgeoisie, then you have nothing coming to you. And unfortunately, there's a lot of qualified African Americans who don't fall in that category. And so what you see is a treehouse club of people that are controlling things. But when you look at it, that treehouse club is the reason why the city is messed up in the first place. Because at the end of the day, we've elected the same leaders who are appointed the next leaders instead of really having a city of choice of people who can really say, you know what, that's the person I want to represent us. I want to create balance in the city. The thing about it is Atlanta is the home of the civil rights movement. And a lot of people don't know this, but before the home of the civil rights movement, Piedmont Park was actually designed so that it can have job fairs for freed slaves. So our history goes back way beyond Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. It goes beyond the fact that Atlanta was the first Black Wall Street, and then it was Tulsa and other cities around the country. And so we have a rich history of prosperity amongst black people, but to me, we're also the first major city in the world, not just the country, in the world, who have gotten rid of public housing. And so what it is that they're saying if we can wipe the home of the civil rights movement out, and we can make that elimination of African Americans, then we can pretty much have fair game over any other place in the country. The problem is that we can kick the black people out in Atlanta, right? But Alpharetta ain't welcoming us with open arms.
I got one last question because we got to get ready to go.
Uh-huh.
All right, so it just came reported that Mayor Kasim Reed has spent $180,000 on 2 SUVs, which kid chauffeurs them around the city. All right, there's a lot of uproar about that. Are you keeping those vehicles, or is he going to take those vehicles with him?
Well, he's going to take them with him because I ain't about to buy my own 2 cars, so with my own money. So, and I'm going to surely drive my own. But, you know, I will say this, that, you know, safety is important. I think that he, made it for safety, but I don't, you know.
What can they find you, man?
You can find me on all forms of social media at Laban, Labanking. Go to my website, labanking.org. as well as donate to the campaign at LabanKing.org and email me at info@LabanKing.org if you want to be active in the campaign. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to coming back and get a haircut from you.
And we gotta have you back on like later on when it's getting closer to that time.
Yes,
We're gonna have
yes.
some other candidates in you. Might try to get our own little debate going on in here.
Hey, thank you, Starlight, for joining us. Will Sane, thank you for being here. Maximilian, thank you, baby, for what you do. It's time to close the barbershop. It's time to clean the clippers, sweep the floors, clean the bathrooms. Laban, that's your job. Shop is closed.
Right, out.
Give me the...
Thank you, baby. If anybody couldn't hear anything, holler at your boy. I can email you a copy of the show. Holla, holla. This was important.
Yeah.